So most people are probably aware that in 2023, most people are actually now meeting their partners in long-term relationships online. It's actually, with the data from 2021 in the US, over 50%. But did you know what the second most common way to meet is? It's in restaurants or bars. And that is something that is not on the decline. In spite of the huge increase in online dating, it's actually the only other way of meeting that's also on the up. Pretty interesting, right? And here I am, I'm in Kiev, which is a city which is famed for its nightlife, at least up until 24th of February 2022 with the Russo-Ukrainian war and the invasion and Russia's attempt to seize this city. That has failed, and I'm back here, and the nightlife is starting to get back into action again. In any case, over the last year or so, I have been with my clients, living at large, enjoying the nightlife, meeting the beautiful women of Eastern Europe and other parts of the region. And in today's video, I'm going to give you a little bit of a primer on how to meet the 9s and 10s, the model level, beautiful women of Eastern Europe in bars and clubs. Поехали!
SAR Experience.
So the first thing you need to sort out is where to go. Where are the 9s and 10s, the type of women that you want to meet? Where are they going to go to relax in the evening, to socialize? You know, is it going to be a high-end cocktail bar? Is it going to be the latest cool, and a rave club? Whatever that location is going to be, you need to know where the highest concentration of the kind of women that you're interested in meeting, the super beautiful, the women of lots of options, the 9s and 10s, where are they hanging out? Now in the past, if you were coming here as a visitor to Eastern Europe, it was a lot easier. There were normally only a couple of places, and being a foreigner was pretty easy to get into them. But that is not the case today. If you do not know an insider, it can actually be pretty tricky to figure out where that place is, because in general, in Eastern Europe, the cooler places are places not frequented by tourists. It's not going to be your bog standard Irish pub where the hotties are going to be hanging out in general. So you need to figure that out. And then you need to be able to get past the face control, because a lot of places are not so keen anymore on actually having tourists. A lot of it is to do with parts of Eastern Europe being afflicted by the sex tourism / stag party business in the past, and seeing, you know, a lot of Brits, a lot of Irish dudes come in big packs, and that isn't considered so cool. So in general, it's not a problem actually being a foreigner getting into these places, but probably you want to be in the know and not seem like a tourist. So as a segue from the location to how you dress, and that's actually connected to getting into the club, because obviously with face control, they may decide that you don't have a look that's conforming with the dress code of the club. And it's important to be cognizant of this. So, you know, choose the dress code and the proper attire to fit in the location you're going to. So if it's a hipster place, dress in that style. If it's a, you know, very high-end bottle service club, then you're going to dress a lot more formally, and etc., etc. It depends on the event. And lean towards slightly overdressing as opposed to underdressing, but ever so slightly. One thing I see is some guys who are veterans of coming here to Eastern Europe, they still dress in the same very, very formal style as, say, was popular here in Eastern Europe, and probably also in their home country, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. And Eastern Europe is no longer some sort of backwater. So doing that, you're just not going to fit in. And I can see they don't feel comfortable when they go to the kind of cool places, especially cool cocktail bars with DJs and stuff like that. The other thing to avoid is dressing like your profession. If you happen to be something like an accountancy professor, don't dress like that, or an IT geek as well. Often they dress like the profession. You know, if you don't have a super cool profession, well, that's fine, but just don't dress like it on your time off when you're socializing. So next thing is logistics. Now, I used to have to travel here in Eastern Europe on my own. That was simply because before I had definitively moved to Eastern Europe, my social circle in the West wasn't up for traveling regularly here, so I had to do a lot of these solo trips. Now, if you're out at a high-end club or the cool cocktail bar and you're Billy No Mates, basically you've gone there on your own, and it's better to go there on your own than not at all. Then, logistically, the best spot is either a club or a bar that has a rectangular, or even a circle, it's very rarely going to be circle, but a rectangular bar in the center is the main focal point. Then it won't be, well, so obvious that you probably stand there on your own. It's a lot easier to easily have contact with the people around you. You can also see quite a wide view of everybody and of obviously the most beautiful women, the 9s and 10s. You're going to be able to approach them a lot easier. It makes it a lot smoother. Now, that's not optimal, and I always recommend that travel with a cool crew. And once you have that in place, then take a place with, well, pick the best table that you can basically at the club. There's a reason why people pay a huge premium to have a table, is that raises your status, and logistically, again, it just makes things a lot more comfortable and easier. You have a place to invite girls to sit and join you for a drink, for example. Pick the best table that you can. That's normally the one that has the highest minimum spend of money. It's priced that way for a reason. It's the prime table. So all these things, actually, all these points are going through, about 5 of them, are things that I actually solve basically with the Zara experience if you are going to come here. And the next thing, which is another segue, is your social circle, because as I said, I had to be Billy No Mates in the beginning in Eastern Europe, and it took me quite a long time to build up that social circle by coming back to the same places regularly, meeting people, and if you're on your own, then try and make friends basically with high-value guys, local guys. Now, there can be foreigners who also spend a lot of time or live in Eastern Europe. They don't actually have to be natives of the place, like here in Kiev. It's kind of much of a muchness. And once you're in that social circle, obviously you've got a cool crew to hang out. That is transformative because you'll have, through friends of friends, access. You get introduced to lots of other guys and girls, and obviously then also amongst that will be the super beautiful, the 9s and 10s. So that's really important to develop over the long term, or to, obviously, if you already have that kind of crew in place, then that's a great way to start. And then the final thing I'll say, again, another segue, is pre-selection. Now, pre-selection is a term that comes from evolutionary biology, and that is the tendency of women to be attracted to men who are already in the presence of other women. And obviously, even better if they are in the presence of beautiful, desirable women. So it's like an attraction switch for women when they see it, something subconscious. So obviously, if you have other women hanging out in your crew, excellent. The prettier the better, basically. Now, don't make the mistake of spending all your time just talking to the girl in your social circle. If she's there kind of just as a friend, whether men and women can really just be friends is very debatable in my opinion. And don't obviously just let her monopolize your time. Don't be a thirsty guy who's got one girl at the table and just going to focus on her, when you get a whole venue, a club, a bar, wherever it is, that you can meet new women. And that is really a great thing. Now, you might, of course, show up to the club or the bar and just be with a group of guys or on your own. Then, of course, invite girls to the table that you have because you're best table, or you're at the bar and you're already talking to other women, and then women will just subconsciously, they're going to be ceteris paribus more attracted to the guy who already has women. So that is also important to be cognizant about as a strategy for attracting the super beautiful, because the 9s and 10s, they have an absolute plethora of choice. Think about it. If you're a girl who's in the top 0.1% of beautiful women, wherever you are, then her problem is not meeting men. It's filtering through all the men. So you want to put yourself in the best position when you come here to Eastern Europe to meet the most attractive of the attractive. And just as a final point on meeting the super beautiful, cool, educated, sincere women of Eastern Europe in bars, clubs, or restaurants, some are out social, I often get this criticism that, Connor, there are no good girls in clubs. All you meet is women who are full of vices. They're druggies or they're hookers or whatever. That's normally, in my experience, in my opinion at least, from guys who've had some bad personal experiences like that. They're the kind of women they attracted, and probably they're making some of the mistakes that I've outlined in this video. Anyways, I'm not here to try and convert those that have those strong limiting beliefs, but I have a couple of videos about, meeting good girls, or can you meet sincere, beautiful, moral women in bars and clubs. I can't believe I have to say that, since there's all kinds of people who go out and socialize, and I'll link those up above in cards down below in the description to this video. So go check them out when you know a little bit more about the bar and club scene here in Eastern Europe, and why it might be different from back home. Because sometimes I do have consulting clients in particular, and odd time a guy comes and lives Desire Experience with me who is actually living somewhere where there isn't much on offer in the local bars and clubs. I've seen, they send me pics or little video clips, and I'm like, okay, I understand why back home you're not really interested in those venues, but it's going to be very different when you come here to Eastern Europe. That is for sure. So do you want a model girlfriend or wife? The 9s and 10 level beauty, the supermodel level of beauty, the Olympian level of beauty, along with good style and intellect. Then what are you doing next weekend? Because it could be you with me having an unforgettable experience, meeting, partying, and potentially starting a relationship with the super beautiful ladies of Eastern Europe. Over the last, say, 9 months or so, I have not been bringing clients to Ukraine, Belarus, or Russia with the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war, but I have been bringing my clients to Almaty, the Almighty, in Kazakhstan, Chisinau, crazy Chisinau in Moldova, Riga, ridiculously hot Riga in Latvia, and also the Warsaw in Poland. And obviously Desire Experience is not for everybody. I do have to vet people before I accept them. So down below is an application form for Desire Experience. Now, before you do that, I want you to go and check out 2 playlists. I'm going to put up on cards above, down below in the description. The first one will give you an overview of the cities that I've just mentioned, and the second one is going to be my playlist about how to date the 9s and 10s here in Eastern Europe. A lot of amazing, unique information there and advice for you to get into the right mindset for coming here to Eastern Europe. Because let's be frank about it, the typical Westerner who comes to Eastern Europe, they basically have a touristic experience. It means they fly in, maybe they've come solo, maybe they've come with a group of lads, and inevitably they find the tourist traps. And who hangs out in the tourist traps? It's not the sincere, graceful, intelligent beauties of Eastern Europe. It's more likely to be a level a lot lower than that. It's probably going to be a lot of scammers, to be frank. Typical thing is guys, they come, they meet some scammer girls, they get dumped for $1,000, been brought to a restaurant. That was the typical scam down in Odessa Mama. Maybe they tried Tinder, same result. Maybe they went to a matchmaker or marriage agency. Very likely to also be scammed at that as well. And the best case scenario, say, for most guys is they end up, maybe not getting scammed, but they end up drinking one of those meter tall beers with a group of expats, and just not really that interesting in terms of a local experience of meeting the really cool and beautiful girls here in Eastern Europe. And my clients have called me as a solution. The silver bullet to say is to have an insider, and that is what my former clients have called me here in Eastern Europe. Привет. Not only have my former clients described me as the insider here in Eastern Europe, they've also described me as the special forces. So you'll have me with you for the weekend. You'll also get access to my social circle around here in Eastern Europe. This is vital in terms of combining going out at night. You're going to know the right place to go to. You're going to have the insider with you. You're going to party hard. We're going to have a table at the club. You're going to get through face control. You're not going to be left standing outside looking at everyone else having fun. You're going to know the top places to be at. You're going to have my over 10 years of experience of dating hundreds of 9s and 10s here in Eastern Europe with you in person. It doesn't get any better than that on an experience, a trip to Eastern Europe. So if that's for you, down below is the application form. Go fill it out. I'll personally read it, and get back to you. And it could be you here with me in Eastern Europe very soon. So that note, I'm just here on, let me just bring you around. I'm here on Maidan Nezalezhnosti. There's the Independence Square here in Kiev in Ukraine. So I bid you a do побачення and do перемоги.
SAR Experience.